it's still going to be tough.
That's the key thing about it, right? Is the fact that Dust 2 is not a map that's very well played by the likes of Gambit, or at least it's not very often played. I imagine that on the basis of what the map has to its strengths and weaknesses, that Gambit probably is still going to be able to pull off a pretty decent T-side, and that might still be enough to win the map outright. But I think HAVU have got a pretty respectable sort of pick-in of their own, right? It's a nice, solid punish pick with a balance of that being a pretty strong map for the HAVU side. So I do feel like there's one map on the table. When it comes to previous head-to-heads, way back 6 months ago, we saw these two teams take each other on their only match on record, and HAVU were able to take away a Mirage as well. I don't think that that's going to become the same situation this time around. Gambit have done a lot of development in those last 6 months. So I do feel like that even though we have those results in history that favors HAVU, Dust 2 is still going to be that better chance for them. And I can see it going to 3 maps just for that reason alone, but I can't really see HAVU winning the series outright.
No, I think it's going to be a 2-0, honestly. I'd like to see and hope that HAVU could put up a chance on Dust 2 and try and keep it tight. The problem is, do you have the stars to match the stars? You have a look at someone like Shiro in the RMR, 11 maps played, put up average 1.45 rating. And we're talking about facing CIS teams here. We're talking about facing the top of the top. So for HAVU, you're going into a game against world-class beaters. So in that sense, who are we seeing from that side? I think Zori put on a really good performance against Double Pony. Slowy, we saw some good impact from him. Aerial in X7, we've seen what the veteran guys can do at times. You can't pull parallels of what any event the HAVU have done in the 3 months that can compare to facing a team like Gambit.
And that's the key thing. That's going to be the key separation point. We can talk about map vetoes and pulls and previous history between these two teams. The reality is that the difference is the number 2 team in the world versus not anywhere near number 2 team in the world from the likes of HAVU. And that really is just going to be the differential point. I feel like Gambit probably could take this in 2-0 still. I mean, I'm still giving it to a 3-map affair, but if they won Dust 2, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah, and for HAVU, you have to imagine they've got to play to their absolute strengths. And we know that there has been times this year where we've seen greatness for HAVU. We've seen them break into top 30. We've seen them looking to be title contenders in the Tier 2 scene. You look back at that last head-to-head you mentioned, was still 6 months ago. That was probably when HAVU were on the up, when it was that early portion of 2021. They need to try and see if they can recreate that form into today.
Let's see whether they can do just that. HAVU did pick into Dust 2, their perfect opportunity to try and get things started against Gambit, but it's still going to be a tough task to stay alive against one of the best teams in the world. It's the pistol round between HAVU and Gambit in our first match of the day.
It's all going to start with the pistol. And for HAVU, how are they going to be able to utilize themselves? It seems like it's going to be aggression. X7 just going for an info play straight away, though, not aggressing all the way up to that Xbox in short position.
It's Hobbit that takes the brunt of the aggression from Gambit down into the lower tunnels alongside Axile. Teammates back up towards the tunnels position. It's going to be nafany that waits for contact aggression from HAVU as the aggression comes in from Shiro, playing raid boss here for the Gambit side. Going to check out this pick control, play a bit of a slow default here for the T side line. The first engagement could come down towards this long or mid positions. It's carefully placed by Gambit, though. They don't want to give up anything.
This is a huge off angle in a pest round. Normally you see the bait and switch on the long corner position or on pit. I don't know if Gambit checked this.
They don't. X7's going to fall, and Zoro's going to catch the info. Tap up the headshots, miss all the bullets. Gets that one headshot at long last. Going to get that second man. He struggles to do so. Shiro takes some damage, forcing back forward to try and catch Zori off guard. Meanwhile, the bomb does get planted on the CTs from the B site. Will try to get those rotations in, but Zori just struggling to hit his shots. That ultimately pays the price for it. Axel comes in with a couple of decent kills of his own, leaving Aerial standing alone. 1v3, Hobbit to close. Gambit with a pistol win.
And you'd have to imagine for HAVU, they're going to have to be sharp today. They're going to have to be hitting their shots. They're going to have to be on point, and that's not good enough. That's a play for Zori where he gets 2 kills there. Why doesn't he? How is he able to whiff that and not get those 2 picks? When you're facing up against a side like Gambit and you're whiffing shots, you're making mistakes, they're going to punish you. And for Chiro, it took a little while for that kill to come in. It did finally, and Gambit just overcome the situation, even with a poor clearance. And that's why they're being pinned with favorites over at Coolbet, even if it isn't their map pick.
Yeah, again, no one would be shocked if they still won Dust 2 here, Gambit. And they're off on the right foot to start things off. Taking a couple of nades down towards that longhouse position. Shiro takes to 23, and obviously a player you want to be seeing at the high-end positions. We'll leave that AK off to Inters and just grab the MAC-10 instead. 2 of those MAC-10s in play with the 3 rifles, the 2 AKs, and Galil. nafany, meanwhile, acting towards that mid position. The only lurker here. They're all having their parts pretty much set here on the long control.
And we know that in the RMR, Gambit was able to place very high with that first placement that puts them into the legend status, and that's going to be practice moving forward into that event, or is it? Slowy out for the long position, gets away with a couple of kills. You couldn't have seen that coming.
No, he's going to grab that AK, turn it in against X7, takes no damage from that engagement. Got to grab that bomb and think about where he wants to commit. Could still rotate back out towards the mid control and try play the B site. Shiro will be there to support him, but again, tagged up so early in this round. 23 points of health for him. I think there's another AK he can grab there towards that longhouse position. 45 seconds, and Gambit are playing so slow. Is this going to be a safe setup?
Well, you know you're going to be double eco next round anyway, aren't you? Because you're going to buy, so, okay, might as well just hold on to the AKs. Is this 2v4 going to happen? Probably not. That was a great angle for Slowy to work with. To be able to multi-frag, too, in that sort of range with the Deagle, that was some impressive shots. And for HAVU, that's exactly the kind of plays they need to be making on a consistent basis.
100%. Gambit, well, they might have gotten away with a pretty simple pistol thanks to some of the issues that they had in terms of the shot accuracy, but that Deagle quickly putting those thoughts to paid. Second round of the border. Gambit, HAVU denying that one. So we go one apiece in the AKs. Can stay in to get a bit more firepower, so there is potential into round 3.
A lot of the time, what we say as well, Jay, with Tier 2 teams facing off against Tier 1 opposition in some of these online cups is that the Tier 1 teams can often get slaughtered. Now, what you've got to remember for someone like Gambit is they actually grinded those Tier 2 events for the majority of last year. When you think of maybe some of the other big names that do come down, sort of the complexities, the OGs, the bigs, they haven't played in the Tier 2 scene in a very long time. So it's a very different kettle of fish, isn't it?
I do have some hope that Gambit is still going to have that Tier 2 mentality, though, taking these kind of matches seriously. One of those teams that have oftentimes not really lost out to some of the Tier 2 opposition. In Copenhagen Flames have something to say about that, but they won't be meeting them until the grand finals, so maybe a bit of revenge to be set up by the Danish camp or Gambit to do the same back onto them. Of course, they're rebuy for now, trying to get through the Finnish squad. There's 2 AKs backed up by a scout and 2 Deagles for round 3.
And not a lot of aggression to come in from HAVU with map presence at all. Nothing being posted up on the short position. Instead, it's quite deep into car and long. They've been able to take the early long control, not with any long spawns for the Ts that are eager to take that. They've got just a single late lurk outside of Axile. And just a short take and that late wrap that can come in.
Smoke set for Zori. Flash is coming over. Scout trying to look into elbow. Can't see them. Can't catch them. Flash is coming in. Ninters will tap the P250, trying to force Zori away. Bomb plant should get secured here, so it will be a 5v5 on the retake. Gambit find their best of options. And now trying to work in with the time stalling. HAVU have most of their players still held outside of the site. Only X7 is really close to position. His teammate trying to get up here, but utility on position. Hobbit gets caught off. Shiro can turn it around to a 4 versus 4. He's the only AK left in play, though, and now being challenged. Inter's out in the open. X7 can't get off the kill, so nafany can come forward with his frag back. Slowly finally deals with Inters, but time is ticked very far away here. HAVU have 1 kit on aerial. Zori's going to get axed out in the backline. Shiro comes up with 1 frag. Has he done enough here? Scout on nafany doing his tag damage. Diffuse kit on site. Slow is going to fall. I think he might have just done enough there. The tag's in, the time's low. Zori's running for it, and Gambit has stolen the rounds.
No kit for Zori to just get back onto that bomb, and Gambit just so much time wasting on that post plant, and that's sort of the finesse that they can bring on T sides of Dust 2 is just slow in the round. HAVU, it took him a while to find that first pick. Finally a swing out from that city spawn area, was able to catch off Hobbit down at the barrels at the sort of top of ramp position. Other than that though, what really happened, you had that super late lurk from Axile out at long, Shiro just trying to waste as much time, and then even the scout nafany just taking a couple of pop shots. HAVU not in position to peek off one another. The time just not there. What a steal from Gambit.
Follow it up now here in their 3rd round position. Hobbit grabs Slowy to kick things off straight into that long position. Aerial with the UMP is going to try to press the issue in mid. That's up by 1 M4 on the bomb site itself. So the A site is probably the lesser of the 2 picks for Gambit's execution. Zori's just going to wait here with his M4. And try see if he can dish out any damage here. He'll find 1 player, but nafany's going to get the kill in against the man. Aerial will find 1 trade. Now nafany's just going to try to deal with him and try and deny that rifle for falling into CT hands. He won't be successful for it. It's only a Galil, though.
And after the performance from Zori yesterday, or at least in the double pony game in the playoff round of 1, or yeah, the round of 12 games, we have now seen him reach 4th highest rated player in the entire event. So if there's anyone to sort of say, okay, who do we need to keep an eye on for HAVU? It has to be Zori, just knowing how impactful he's been over the course of this event.
So far, not finding impact in this round, unfortunately. Killed off on those first couple of casualties. He is up near the top of that board. So all eyes on him and on Slowy as well, who currently is on top of that board. For now, the scoreboard says 3-1 for Gambit, though. So they're the ones that are in full control of this.
And for Gambit, they're not quite grinding the maps like they used to. They've only played 27 maps in the last 3 months. And if you were maybe asleep for a year, you'd think to yourself, geez, how's that happen? 27 maps in the last 3 months? Didn't they used to play 100, 120 or so? Yeah, not quite being able to dip their toes in some of their events. It's their debut performance here in Eliza for Gambit.
First ever appearance in Eliza in general, I think, actually. I don't remember them being
part of
the
right.
last 3 invitationals. Definitely not part of the Nordic Championship, I'll give you that.
Yeah. First of all, because they're not a Nordic team.
At a 5th division for CIS. Why not, boys? Let's do it.
Yeah. Just destroy everyone.
Yeah, easy spot for Gambit here. AK in for Hobbit's going to dish out the damage to start off here on the short presence. Awkward sprays in against Slowy. Allows Ariel to get that 1 good kill in. Hobbit taps his head as Intus comes up with 2 of his own. And Zori is left alone here into the mid position. Shiro's going to see him, call out the info, get the bomb to cross, and now just engagements in from the T-side line wherever they can find him. Just hunt him down, take him out. Set HAVU up for the gun round.
Yeah, Gambit wanting to see if they can extend their winning streak. Currently 6 games in a row. And HAVU, there was a portion of time, if you tape this morning, where they actually were 5 games in a row, except they lost to Mao's NXT. So that's probably them looking to bounce back and get a streak themselves. So far, haven't found much success on the CT side. Simple take coming through from the long position, just dealing with those eco pistols. Going into round 6, you have to hope that for HAVU, they're going to bring something to it. Even the money state still isn't fantastic. Haven't seen an AWP out for Zori and a couple of FAMASas to use.
Straight rush in again from Gambit, trying to get aggressive out towards that longhouse position. Arrow's going to get caught first and foremost. Fast plays, and Gambit again are going to come out on top. X7's tagged extremely low, does get a kill before he ends up falling, but that still trades to the favor of Gambit. Zori's going to try and maintain a 3-on-3, and he will be able to do so, but no info on the next T-side player to face. Meanwhile, Shiro starts to act out towards the B play. No idea that he's got a player in car. That's Yemi with FAMAS out. Shiro can't adjust towards it, not looking the right way at the right time. And now it rests on Slowy to cut off the mid presence here from the bomb carrier of Intis. He cannot afford to go down here.
Oh, they might catch a timing on this short walk, and this is something we can expect quite a fair bit from Gambit, is just catching timings and being able to find open space. Look at Axel. He's starting to walk completely out to the A side, and for the moment, HAVU have no idea that this play is possible.
It's completely open bomb site as well. They're starting to get an inkling as to that might be in the case. Slowy's watching long, expecting someone to drop down from the short presence. Obviously knows that long's cleared out by Zori, who's going to get the backstab together. Now footsteps being heard will indicate that, yes, the bomb is going to go down towards this A site. And the retake does favor HAVU here.
Axel just looking for a pick, realizing 2v3, got to try and make a play. Into the last one left, gets picked off by Zori. That's a great round from HAVU. Having the numbers game and the 3-on-2 advantage really set themselves up for the retake. And Gambit just know if they play defensive, there's no way they're going to win that round. So you're searching for a fight, you're looking for an advantage back, and both players left in the post plant aren't able to get picks. HAVU up to their second.
Very nicely done at that. Gambit put a lot behind this long control, and this time X7 and co were actually able to do some decent trading. Zori, can you mention the guy to highlight in this matchup? Ultimately getting the man advantage and holding down an AK as well at the post round itself. A simple affair for HAVU. Second goes up to that board. Gambit still leading by a couple of rounds. We've got firepower against them here in the CT basis. The AK's on 3 individuals. And Hobbit making his way up towards that short presence initially. Slowy with a smoke set into the mid doors. Will at least extinguish that fire and see contact on 1 individual.
AWP going to peek back in. Slowy just missing that opportunity. That's a lot of damage coming down onto Shiro's angle. And for HAVU, they haven't ever really placed anyone aggressive on the short position. They're allowing free range of Gambit to take this area of the map and instead applying some pressure on rotations out to mid to do damage.
Smokes and incendiaries. Hobbit suppressed Yemi and Slowy. Crossfire out towards that B side, just spraying forward, hoping to catch somebody here in the tunnel's entrance, but nobody's really that aggressive here. The aggression is again going into that longhouse, and Shiro is going to get caught tagged up for it. Hobbit reveals his position towards short, but doesn't catch any kills.
Oh, they're playing one player in the B site and a quick rotator that can come through from Slowy that's going to keep eyes on mid, try and see if they can get X7 into some sort of damage, spam through the CT smoke.
Well, we'll do so, do damage to X7. But X7 comes up with the kill again. Now Slowy and Cole holding back with Yemi with a spray down. Hobby going to get caught next. Axile's tagged. Shiro is low. Axile trying to work this flank into the B site with his teammates coming in from tunnels. Ooh, good position from Slowy actually allows the kill to come in. Yemi's also going to get overwhelmed. So Gambit have brought us back to a 3-on-3.
Sloppy stuff there from HAVU, just getting out of position at the wrong time, and even Shiro's looking into these lower tunnels. They are starting to bring back a 3v5, and HAVU haven't managed a single pick since then.
I'm trying to flash and smoke their way into the site, but I think it's just suppression utility to get them back out of dodge. Aerial and Zori going to consider the save call. Not in advancement positions, so yeah, they fall back, and it's another round for Gambit, and you're right about that, a 5 versus 3 brought back somehow. It just goes to show exactly what Gambit are made of. These guys are no slouches, and they could very easily take control of this match from here.
That highlights just how easy it is to force mistakes out. And it's carelessness. It's maybe some slight hesitation. You've got the first player playing up on that wood stat position just outside a window. Why are we seeing movement there? Why are we seeing a drop down in just a timing that just allows a peek to come through for Axel? Even Yemi in the site is just struggling to find anything. Does he peek out wide? Axel gets an easy pick onto Slowy, just out of position. Even Yemi's just in the open, and then straight away, 3-on-3. Shiro hears the footsteps. Easy shot for the orb. Gambit making HAVU look like fools in that last round.
Tagged up early into this one. The AWP shots continue to come through. A bit of a weird sort of buy. We've got several players that are kind of half buying into this round for the HAVU side. You've also got players that are investing in full. Zori, Slowy down at 800 and no dollars at all. This might lopside the economy quite heavily. Could also just be the hero set up on 2 individuals as opposed to just miscommunication or whatever might be the case. HAVU will leave themselves in an awkward stance. One rifle being brought down makes a lot of sense, but having this kind of setup, I mean, it could still work in theory.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you in the same boat. I'm not really sure why Slowy's brought down completely. They should have just hold on to the double AKs and just lightly ecoed around it. Try and peek out to the spawn area to try and get them in for the mid to B. X7 getting close to a kill. Oh, he doesn't even manage it. And now all the kills start coming into the T side. Zori trying to do as much damage in as possible. And they're doing damage. They just haven't been able to find many picks, have they?
Yeah, the thing that Julie setup didn't even get a kill. Like, that should have been at least one. It's not to be in this one here. 6th round of the board of Gambit, pretty much a guarantee. Slowy will try his attempts at the 1v3, but you've already got Hobbit in the CT spawn, and you might not be expecting that. I don't think there's any good reason for Slowy to expect this team to progress this far. And in the end, he just doesn't even bother for it. Back up towards top mid, hold on to the M4. And let's see what the economy state looks like off the back of the loss bonus coming in for HAVU. There could still be a bar on the table, but there's possible limitations for Zori here.
Yeah, you've got to imagine that for him, he's going to be rocking, a FAMAS. Might even go down to an SMG if he likes. Slowy's going to be fine himself if he holds on to this M4. Everybody else can buy. So it definitely will be a full investment. One thing that I am slightly worried about is Zori without the AWP, because you have a look back at that double pony game. Zori got 37 kills in total, Jay. 27 of them were with the AWP. So if he doesn't have that big green, are they going to find the impact? It's something we've got to think about.
See a bird's eye perspective, how these kills started coming in for the T-side line. Engagements they had on the back of the B site with not really a lot of backup overall. It will be an investment for HAVU. X7's brought down. Aerial should follow suit. And Zori and Yemi are okay. Yemi does buy in the end. Zori's just going to go with Deagle for the eco. And Shiro immediately deals with X7. Frag found. Zori can pick up that M4 at least. It's an opening start for Gambit.
Now, unfortunately, he's got no armor. Slowy trying to make an aggressive move. Shiro just posted with the orb. And for Slowy, he's just going to wait. See if they retake that longhouse position. And you'd have to imagine that Shiro's just going to keep holding the line. Oh, they're trying to bait him, aren't they, with those sound cues?
Yeah. I think they recognize, I think they saw the angle of the nade and where it came from, so they just know that Slowy's somewhere here in the longhouse. Shiro will start to back away, but keeping his eyes firmly set on that position. Slowy could act at any moment.
Yeah, the problem with him, though, is does he have that guts and risk to go for the play of just the wraparound? Another one of these short takes, and Slowy's finally starting to make a full play forward. Axel's on the other side, and that's the risk, is you go for it, you hope to catch a timing when no one's watching it, and then there's 50 seconds on the clock, and Axel's still there.
And now it's a safe call for HAVU. No choice in the matter. No disrespect to them for taking this call, because they could still get some decent buys in for this. Obviously, it's still 7-2 for Gambit, and this was the big fear. It is a T side for Gambit. Could maintain all the control in the initial start out. Will try and work towards their favor. It still leaves an awkward stance for HAVU, though, being down by this one-sided of an affair. If they can try and bring back some CT rounds, make it at least 5 or 6 rounds at the turn of the half, it still is possible for them to bring it back. Gambit have shown every single time, though, that they are just a step above, a cut above the rest.
Yeah, and that's why they're in a position where they are today. Axel even thinking about a very late take of just a slow walk out, see if he can catch off Yemi. Doesn't what happens. That's an AK that can get picked up if they extend out. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen at all. Shiro, great opener with the AWP. What a flick that is to start off. And Axel just so patient, waiting for that aggressive move, catching off the lurker, and then from there, that's just an easy take of the A site. HAVU not finding much success. And I guess, Jay, from our perspective, you do have to be more critical from HAVU in this matchup for making mistakes, because you can get away with some sloppy timings and some sloppy repositionings when you're facing off against tier 2 teams. When you're facing up against not only a tier 1 team, but a top dog like Gambit, and you're making those mistakes, they're going to roll you. And that's what we're seeing right here. 7-2 for Gambit.
And that's the thing, like, that's what separates these two squads, the fact that Gambit are just that little bit more coordinated, a little bit less sloppy. And HAVU, well, they're a tier 2 team for a very good reason. The reason's being proved right here. Rebuy, of course, the half investment for the CT line. The force forward with that AWP, Shiro just lands directly on Slowy. Didn't stand a chance. The accuracy and swiftness from the AWP flick. It's to be expected in this kind of a matchup here. Gambit know that. Do they know about X7's aggression, though?
This is the new change, right, with even trying to block up the mid picks, is you just go down there with a double boost and you're not smoking it. If you've got a class AWP, they're going to keep getting tags. They're going to be able to get a pick every once in a while. And Shiro has been diving down into that suicide position pretty much every round, other than when he's got a good long spawn.
X7 holding close. They don't know. He gets 1 kill for it. Only 1 kill. 2 trades back for nafany and Axel. Aerial and Yemi separated towards mid and the A site in long control, and the flashbang just keeps Aerial completely blinded. Axel with the pick, and Yemi stands alone in a safe position. There's no way he wins this 1v4.
Even getting out to the B site might be an issue. If that AWP is posted on the doors, then getting back over to B is going to be difficult. Shiro, of course he hits that. Of course he hits the flick. No problem whatsoever. 8 on for Gambit. And HAVU, no one is showing up individually. Yeah, the kill distribution you can look at and say, oh, well, no one's struggling. I guess you can have that mindset. It's also no one delivering, and that is a slight concern. Finally, Zari with the AWP. It's been a while since we've seen him on the big green.
Hasn't had much of a chance to. The economy build for HAVU has been awkwardly misbought. Hero investments, force buys, and well, now it comes the true rifle round, one of the only few ones we've seen here from HAVU with an AWP. So he will try force forward into that tunnel's position. Doesn't see anyone from Gambit. They're happy to play away from that. And it's a great read as well to recognize that that all probably is in play now in this round, and they're just not going to challenge it directly. Maybe force it out, maybe flash it off. Comes some util. The flick's still great against Axel. Incendiary's back here. T-side players will be suppressed. Double Incendiary, actually. Damage will be done towards Slowy. Meanwhile, with Hobbit's mid-lurk, he can't quite get that kill, though. Does do the blind spray on towards Yemi. Dish out some more damage, but still it's a 5-on-4 for HAVU's favor.
That's a quick rotate for the T-sides, getting out for that short position straight away. They've got to get an entry down to X7. Off angle to the right-hand side of this ramp position. They might not expect it. Now it's a 5-on-3.
Yeah, needed a flashbang to clear out X7. Hobbit can get Slowy at least. Trying to get that double trade in. Day HP for X7. That nade towards Hobbit could catch him. He gets out of dodge real quick though. And now Inters and Shiro start acting into the long play. Out towards Longhouse. The smoke is in to suppress them, but there's no CT contact directly.
This is a very good position for HAVU to be in. Unfortunately, they don't have a lot of util. They've only got one smoke left for Aerial. X7's thinking about making an info play. This is a good decision for HAVU. Start realizing what the play is manageable.
30 seconds and Gambit still held out towards that top mid position. That bomb's going to try and make his way into short. HAVU put a lot of presence here on short, and Aerial's going to be on for an easy receival of Hobbit. Nice kill. The smoke down to suppress even further. With 17 seconds left, Gambit have got to push forward of that or find a new way back in. Shiro will catch off Yemi in the net mid control. Meanwhile, Inters falls towards Long, so Shiro's the last man standing. 10 seconds left. He knows he's out of this. He's got to save.
And might as well go for damage. They've got so much money on this T side. Even another pick onto Aerial is going to be able to drop another one of those M4s, make it tighter on the economy state. Shiro's going to go back to the AWP. It doesn't really make a difference, right? If he goes down or he doesn't, you've got players on 10k plus money line. Gambit just hoping for more. And HAVU, it started off with a couple of opening picks that were untraded. That was a perfect 5-on-3 they put themselves in.
And find something coming good here for HAVU. Great opportunity now. Try and get something back overall on the CT line of things. They've got to do a lot more work. It's still a hell of a scoreline to come back from. Gambit have already won the half, of course. In towards the Longhouse again. Gambit going to get suppressed from that position. 3 players out towards Long. Very spread out on the Gambit default.
Gambit, ever since they got destroyed when they went for that quick outside take to Long, haven't really gone long aggressive. They haven't mined a long pick for Shiro when there's been a decent spawn. For the most part, they've just left it for the taking of the CT side and often just had a late lurk of Axile to see if they can get some business in the late rounds. Yemi and Slowy playing out to the B side. Gambit very silent. Again, this short take coming in with ease for Gambit.
Push up that tunnel's could also come in from Slowy, so keep your eyes on that mini-map. Get caught off by Inters. That could be an easy opening threat for Gambit instead. Orp. Zori watching. Seeing Utility get thrown back down against his position. Gambit trying to indicate some sort of short play, but it's all a ruse. That one player will dive straight out towards the CT spawn in the midst of that smoke. He's trying to catch off X7. Can't quite win that fight. Shiro can, though. And the trail on the slow. He needs it all on Yemi to the B defensive. He tries his best, but transfers the spray to the wrong player, leaving Axile a simple second. Shiro a simple second as well. And Aerial, he's got to get out of dodge. It's just every time we see one of these good rounds from HAVU, Gambit find a way to respond so effectively and efficiently and easily here. 4 players alive in this round.
Just think how suffocating that is. That just when you get a good round, you go, right, boys, here we are. We put on a good third. Let's start building up money. Let's build up some confidence. And you just get slapped right back into reality the next round. That one there for Gambit was a great short fake. So they've got the one lurk that drops into CT spawn, has a lot of util over the top, does damage into spawn, does fall to X7, and then the trade just comes out instantly. Shiro's able to pick off X7. Axile gets double entries to that B site, and then Shiro even catches another lurk off. And it's one of those moments where the entire round is just chaotic, and Gambit are just everywhere. HAVU don't know where to peek, don't know where is safe and where isn't. Aerial might even fall. They know exactly where he is in his Longhouse position. Spam's trying to come through. Doesn't quite happen. Gambit up to 9. HAVU, this is tough.
Very tough indeed. Was always going to be the case here, especially on this T side. I'm still holding out some hope that HAVU might do something to just get those extra few rounds on the CT half.
Yeah.
And look towards the T side as being the main comeback moment. Nothing that can really come through in this round, though. The pistols are out in full force. That one saved M4. Trying to get fallen really quickly by the likes of nafany. Only gets the one pick. Axile can trade Aerial. Look back in for X7. That Inters is going to find. Zori gets that one frag with an Eagle. No more than that. Inters doubles up. And Yemi, once again, left so far away from the main contact.
They try and keep pressure on. They fight fire with fire. They just stack themselves up in the Longhouse position. They get away with a couple of kills onto Axile and nafany, but really nothing else happens. Yemi might be on for one more pick. You can't really see much else happening. And with Axile and nafany being dropped in Long, the chance of getting a rifle is just, it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, unless Gambit just send their entire force into the A site and Yemi goes back around towards the longhouse to grab a rifle. Assuming that Gambit haven't thrown it out of the map already, which I think they're about to do. And no chance unless those circumstances work out. And for Yemi, he's just going to wait on the site. Try to go for a Hail Mary hero play. Catch off that bomb carrier in the last couple of seconds. No noise being made by Gambit, though. Turning his head back around towards that long position, seeing where the AWP is. Takes fight, gets nothing. 3 kills for Inters. And double digits for Gambit.
And something to think about as well is Gambit have got 4 players that are 21 or younger, and HAVU's youngest player is 22 of Yemi. They've got some older guys on that team. Slowy's, 25? Zori's 27, X7's 27, even Ariel's 28. The only veteran guy you've kind of got on Gambit is Hobbit. Other than that, everyone else is super young on that CIS team.
See them at this kind of high level already in their careers. Because remember, Gambit Youngsters was their first professional team.
Yeah.
So seeing them carry forward this core and do so much in such a small space of time. Now what could the future hold for them? There's so much exciting about Gambit. It's the reason why I love this team so much. Don't love that, though. Slowy finds Hobbit on a dry face, and it has been those dry faces that Gambit are getting caught off for. They're not expecting HAVU to be so pushed up, so they just lose those opening frags. Will they lose the round for it?
Yeah, no flash to lower tunnels, no dual peek with Hobbit to get backed up, and just an off angle that you're not expecting. nafany with the AWP, going to see if he can get a pick out to that site itself, and Zori just peeks straight into it, so that's the AWP falling.
Well, dry faces for both Gambit and HAVU in this one, and it's punished by nafany. Gets back some long control. Axel trying to work into that site. Smokes go down to the CT side, but so to the CT cross. Axel struggles to find X7. And nafany can't do much here. He's going to try and draw their attention away anyway. Yemi's going to smoke down the tunnels in position, finding Inters as Slowy gets nafany. It lets it all on Shiro. The AWP back up towards the tunnels position. Flashbang in, catches his man, and now smoke down towards the B doors to get the bomb plant.
Yeah, 1v3 clutch for Shiro. Just trying to see if he can bait in some of the peaks. He's hearing the footsteps of Ariel in those upper tunnels. He now turns it back into 2.
Surely he won't do this. Crossing back to big box, switching out to the M4. Tapping the plant once. Going to come from window, and he's not expecting it. Got caught looking the wrong way at the wrong time. X7 deals with him, gets that 4th to the board of HAVU. Can they turn it into 5 now? Gambit, again, getting a bit too complacent in that round.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. That was probably the most complacent we'd seen them the entire map. Dry peek goes through to those lower tunnels. They're double AWPing on T side. Considering Gambit never double AWP, it's very rare that you'll see nafany on the AWP. Did that on T side. Actually going to start thinking about doing it again going into round 15.
Slowy's already been tagged here. AWP in for Zori. Seeing Hobbit, and Hobbit again gets caught as the first casualty of the round. Good kills, HAVU. Having X7 forced out towards the lower tunnels. Expecting Inters and nafany to make their way into this position. Waited back here. The flashbang comes forward, but doesn't catch X7. He turns away from it, gets Inters and X and a 5 versus 3. Looking back, give Shiro up towards that suicide position. The incendiary towards nafany. nafany can get that kill, but Zori's there for a quick responsive. This is the best that HAVU have looked in this entire map.
The trading game in that round was flawless. Zori was just always in a position to back up his teammate of X7. And now for Axel and Shiro, they've got to try and work 2v4. They don't have much map control. A lot of noise being used out to that long position is going to draw the attention over for the AWPer. Does bait out Zori.
Smoke on the corner, Zori. Wrapping over it, hoping that someone from Gambit makes their way in. Famas bursts up. Axel gets tagged for it. 22 HP. Zori does see Shiro. Can't quite land the blind shot past that smoke, so the AWP v AWP battle not quite being trumped out by the HAVU player. Axel is trumped by Ariel instead, though. Molotov in towards Goose. Shiro hearing those shots, trying to catch Zori off guard, but now being flanked in towards that mid position. 20 seconds as well, and Yemi's going to close it out with a 5th round for HAVU to close the CT half on a high note. It's still 5 rounds down against Gambit, but this is workable. I can see a way back in, even if it will be so tough for the Finnish squad.
I don't think there's a way back in. I think there's a way to make it competitive, though. So far, I've been quite impressed by HAVU's ability to try and keep it as close as possible. We saw a lovely couple of rounds for them towards the end of the half. That's going to be them on a slight positive note going into the second, knowing, okay, we're doing some damage here. The problem is they're still 5-10 down. Turning this into a comeback has to start off perfectly into the second half, and that's going to be a tough ask.
Well, halftime hero is Shiro for good reason. Top fragger in the server right now and playing his AWP as well as he usually does. Tactical pause taken by HAVU before we even get into the second half. Of course, they've got a little bit of work to do. Both on the scoreline and in terms of changing people's minds, Coolbet have the odds even more one-sided than at the start of the map. I can't disagree with them, Dwight. Again, I have some hope that it's still competitive. I have some hope that maybe this map could still be close. The way back in has begun, but they've got to get a pistol to follow it up, else it's going to mean even more of a difficult task off the back of that.
Yeah, don't do it for Finland, do it for Tier 2. That's always the mindset with these Tier 2 teams, is any time they get a chance of upsetting a Tier 1 team, it looks great for everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah, Fiend can tell you that firsthand. And HAVU, I mean, to upset number 2 in the world, like...
Getting a bit ahead of ourselves, I think.
Yeah. It would be a great achievement and one you could definitely add to the trophy cabinet as like an honorary sort of, yeah, this is our trophy for beating Gambit one time. Shiro, USB's in, sees Slowy, gets that first kill immediately, just lurking in the midst of that smoke, and HAVU had no idea. Now getting towards lower tunnels, 3 more players to find. Does get overwhelmed by the numbers game, but now he has the info, and nafany and Axel can work with Axel striking up towards top mid as Yemi falls towards the mid doors. 4-on-3 advantage, and HAVU thinking about where they want to go right back here into the mid control. Try to play out the A-site rotation. No smoke towards those doorways, so it's easy pickings for nafany to get a double and a triple. Looking for Zori next up. He's got 2 players to find. Does drop nafany at least, but still 3 more to get. 2 more to get. Not going to get into his back turn. Headshot found. Pistol round for Gambit.
That was just a sandwich in the lower tunnels. They were so stuck there for HAVU. So first of all, you've got Shiro making an aggressive info play. He's hearing a lot of the footsteps. He's hiding behind the Xbox smoke. And he's able to draw attention. And then just when HAVU think, okay, we've traded the backstabber, there's another one. Axel's come out of Longhouse behind them. And for Gambit, they've just got players everywhere. Zori's trying to recover a 1v4 to make that round possible. They are going to force buy in the next. I guess they want to try and keep pressure on.
I think they're going to go to 12-5, potentially 13-5. Could be a bit disastrous for HAVU given the scoreline that they've got to bring back. Try and force it out 11-6, get the reset against the Gambit economy. Force them down to Deagles, then try and, get momentum off the back of that. That's probably what the thinking is here for HAVU. Right now, still got a little bit of work to be done. Playing carefully around this round, you can see how important this round is in their own mentality state.
This has got to be a mid-wrap to come through. HAVU, Hobbit just playing over the top of the city boxes, taking that first contact, not even falling away, he's staying around.
Enters the catch is Slowy next up. Hobbit going to wait into the smoke. Zori's thinking he might be on the boost spot, but he's not sure how high out or far out he is. Burst fire from the M4s, continue to try and tag or look for players blind past smokes. Zori comes up with that 1 frag and the Deagle of X7 sees into Zoo gets his kill. Not quite nafany there. UMP switched out to seeing Yemi next up, catching the info where the bomb's being planted or where the bomb's on its way towards where it should be planted if they continue this campaign. The incendiaries might drive them back into the A play, but rotations is being called in by Gambit as well.
Before they even think about taking fights and being able to run their strats, they've got to figure out this puzzle of how to get out of upper and lower tunnels without taking damage. Because it seems whenever they're going past the mid doors, whenever they're even re-smoked in the upper tunnels, they're taking so many deaths.
Flash their way out, nade in. Yemi going to take that damage. Axel gets the kill, and Zori falls to Axel the same. There it is, all players cleaned up on the part of HAVU. Force buy gets not much. Down to Eco, so you almost guarantee a 13-5 here.
And for Gambit, because they're obviously legend status in the major, it means that they're playing in the later stage of the tournament. This is probably just a momentum kicker, isn't it? Right? Let's get the invitation here to the Eliza Invitational. Let's 2-0 all of our games. We'll get into the grand final, take the trophy, take a juicy prize pool, and that's going to be us being pushed forward. That's the intent, at least, you'd have to imagine.
The intent is different to what's achievable here. We'll be able to come up with something good here. Hobbit, Axile kills in. Yemi's going to trade back one. At least get that one weapon being dropped and try and utilize that to his own effect here. Smokes back towards Cross. One man spotted on the site. Second player not quite as visible. nafany does get his kill in and doubles up with the Deagle. Enters the close down slowly and make it 13-5. HAVU got to get those guns back out here for round 19. They've got to get a win, else Gambit are probably taking Dust 2.
And for HAVU, coming into today, they were third in the event for flash assists per round. Now, just on Dust 2 alone, Jay, the two highest flash effectiveness of the players is Zori and Slowy with 9 enemies flashed. And for Gambit, you've got 27 enemies flashed for Axel and 20 for Inters. We are seeing a massive change when it comes to both teams in the comparison of the util.
Attempt to press into that mid position. HAVU again being careful about these defaults. Trying to give as little away to Gambit as is possible. We'll put the incendiary down, indicating they're going to take some short control. And all 5 players look like they want to go for the short execution here.
And there's still a chance that they can actually fake the mid to B, try and see if they can scramble the rotations, because they don't have a crazy amount of intent of actually going to this B side. They're going to just try and see if they can draw Hobbit further into CT spawn and away from A.
Burst fire through the smoke. Ariel gets his kill. Out towards that top mid position. Axel getting caught off a little bit too overly aggressive in that one. Gambit just splitting their forces, wait for the execution. Wherever HAVU want to go, they've got to hold it down. Yemi prodding at the short control. It looks like it's going to be the short commit still.
This is a decent position to be able to get a lurk out from mid. There is one player to fall, and Hobbit's holding on ramp.
Expecting more players out at elbow. Does see Yemi, does not see Ariel. It drops down. X7's going to get nafany meanwhile towards that mid control, but the bomb's been committed, and Zori's going to get his pick back in. Shiro does not last long either. Enters 1-on-4. Now, they get a taste of their own medicine. HAVU in this position all the time during their CT half. It's going to have to be a hold case here for the M4 to stay in and for the 5th round to go to 6 for HAVU.
That's probably the best round I've seen from HAVU on Dust 2. Notice how straight away Axel's getting antsy and not really hearing a lot of information, thinks about making an info play, aggresses out from Longhouse and just gets punished by the top mid player of Ariel. From there, they're able to sneak X7 forward from the mid angle. They put down a molly, a smoke, they're trying to drive Hobbit away. And then even when they go back to the A commit, they leave X7 there to just cut the rotates off from the B players. Zori on the sites finding impact with that orb. Hobbit at ramp is only able to find 1 kill. He's not able to multi-frag at all. Great utility usage and perfect trading game there for the Fens.
The overzealous there from Gambit, of course, enabling that force forward from Axel that started off that round. They're in the way of the HAVU camp. It's 1 round out of many. Tactical pause taken by the Gambit side. They're first in this matchup, recognizing that maybe they are getting a bit complacent now. Now's the chance to turn that down, and we'll just close out the map from here.
Yeah, as well for these tier 1 teams, you don't want to waste this opportunity, do you? Because against the tier 2 teams that play structured Counter-Strike like HAVU, like Copenhagen Flames, maybe not so much the Bulgarians of Skade and Fiend that play sort of wild, reckless CS, it's good practice to just have the fundamentals down right and just try and see where you're getting punished. And right there, it seems as if the slight mistakes we've been seeing from Gambit is overextensions on the CT side, unnecessary peaks.
Where can they press forward with it? Force buy-in for Gambit. M4's in from us out on 1, 5-7 and AWP. 4 rifles out for the HAVU side as they press it towards that mid control. Ariel should become that first point of contact in towards the mid doors, but nobody's there. No one from the CT side at least. They're pretty passive when it comes to mid control.
This could be an area of the map that HAVU can consistently exploit, is just mid. Just being able to get further walks in, try and see if they can cut a rotate off. You can see Zori with the orb is just waiting for one of these B players to start moving away, and it might be nafany to move over to CT spawn.
Molotov from Ariel. going to indicate again that short presence is on the table, but it's going to have to be this B execution. That bomb on the back of X7, you see him center of the screen. And joined by a fourth man, so B seems to be the hit for now. Will it come in fast or slow with their set-piece execution? Nave's back, flashbang coming in, Inter's completely blinded. And still gets away with one kill on Yemi somehow. Nafany, his backup's going to fall. Inter's trying to get out of dodge. And then the T-side players are pressing towards him. Deals with that jumping player, but X7 doubles up to bring it to a 3-on-3.
Now, Arrow's got a chance of diving into CT's board if he hears some of those CTs moving away. Eyes are going to be on. Is Shiro watching this? I think
yes,
he is.
Yes, he is. He knows what's going on, but he pels his attention away. Having suspicions that Aerial might still be out there, though. He's going to close in the back lines. The AWP of Zori, meanwhile, catches the first contact of Hobbit. And now Aerial strikes, but just as Gambit make their way away from CT spawn, back up into mid and away for the save.
That was very smartly commed over from Aerial, that he's able to read that a couple of players are moving away. Doesn't go too quickly. Even trying to see if they can hunt down the AWP. They've got Aerial out to Longhouse. This could be a dead man for Shiro. Easy pick. Nicely done. 7th on the board for HAVU. And they're playing some good CS on these T side. They're starting to scramble the CTs. They're being able to get themselves to some really good open walk positions. And Aerial just pretty much won that round by himself. Even for Inters, a great hold out to this car position for him to find a couple of kills. The problem was he just couldn't get support in time.
Yeah, his backup fell so quickly and with no real rotations coming in from Gambit. Or no aggressive rotations from Gambit. It's not really enough. So HAVU continue to maintain a lifeline here. 13-7. USPs on the straight eco. Not much that can be done by the CT forces. Maybe they could find a stack in and a complacent play from HAVU. But this should be 8 to the T-board.
Yeah, Zori definitely hasn't been overly impactful. He's just been consistent. And that's probably what you want from your AWPer when you're facing a team like Gambit. Just making sure Zori's getting a couple of picks here or there, chipping into the action, giving yourself man advantages, and dealing with this eco pretty effectively. The USPs, yeah, they're able to get Slowey down to 3 points of health. Actually transitioning that into a kill is going to be difficult. HAVU should be an easy 8 for them. Aerial being able to find a couple. Gambit, their lead is still up by 5.
Yeah, that buffer is starting to get smaller and smaller, though. They still need 3 rounds to get to the map win. We did talk about the T-side being the favored half for HAVU as well. Seeing them do this isn't too shocking. But considering how one-sided it was looking for Gambit at one point, it is still a little bit of I guess a pleasant surprise to see HAVU doing as well as they are right now. Got a little bit of a ways to go, but it's not as far as you might think. AK is coming in for Aerial, going to try force forward out towards the Longhouse position, dive in towards this pit control, and Nafany's going to get away with a kill. Axel follows suit on towards Slowey, can't get Zori. That AWP flick is great, but it's a 2-for-1 trade for Gambit.
Yeah, X7 still hasn't heard any of those B players start rotating over to the long position, so he's going to have the idea that there's still going to be one in that site, and even for Hobbit playing down into CT, Shiro just dropping off after seeing the bomb, and another player is short.
And tags up Shiro and Hobbit, taking damage and getting out of dodge. There's Hobbit with his kill on towards Yemi, making it 2 players down for HAVU. Zori's extremely low, and just blind fire at the end of the smoke comes up with that headshot. X7 stands alone, at least gets that 1 frag, but needs a whole lot more.
And so much damage that's done in from nafany on that top mid position. 4 HP for X7. He doesn't even have the bomb control. This just can't be winnable. AWP's already posted. Gambit up to 14. My goodness, you could see the way that Aerial's got his head down. He's trying to play anti-flash. He's trying to get into pit and think, right, I'm going to be able to get into pit, get into safety, then I'll turn around. There's already a pit player.
Started off with a FAMAS kill. The M4s that are clean up the rest of the players, and Gambit find their 14th. Damage too heavy to handle. Ultimately, easy pickings for Gambit, even with the blind shots through smokes. AK's back in for HAVU, but they need to get a quick responsive. If they can't do so, then we might be in trouble. Shoulder seen first. Shiro's expecting X7. Flashbang turned away from Flick. Not quite as good. Shiro takes damage.
An advantage for HAVU to start working out with this mid portion again, saying if they can just get a walk in. There is actually a player close to that left-hand side. That's the in-game leader.
Winters fights on Zori, didn't quite catch him. The AK of X7 can strike a bit better towards B control this time. Flashbang in towards the CT spawn, suppressing those CT players. As the bomb makes way up to the B site, it's probably a safe call here. Gambit have got no chance, and Yemi's going to get exit frags on Hobbit. Kill in X7 did fall to the hands of Shiro, but it's him and Axel to fend off the hunting tees.
Yemi going to get flashed over, swing out wide. Great pick. Knows even where the car player is now. So Axel's going to get hunted. There's players everywhere. Slowy's trying to keep pressure on. Axel's going over to the AWP. What a pick that was from Zori. You had, what was it, Inter's playing on the B anchor. Looked as if he was going to swing out wide to get an easy pick onto the AWP, and it just doesn't happen.
Oh, Axel. He's getting a couple of exit frags here, trying to hold on towards Goose. He makes it a triple. Now Zori, the lone man left, going to continue hunting for him. Smokes up. Who's going to see who first, or will Zori just back off? It looks like it's a back-off play. Economy still not amazing here for the T-side line. It's even worse for Gambit. It's probably going to be an eco around his AWP. Those are the kinds of plays we need to see from Axel in the middle of the round, not in the post round, not when they're trying to fend off hunters to get some impact in, because Gambit are starting to struggle a little bit.
Anytime you deal with a B anchor without even a trade coming back, you're going to be able to clear the bomb site pretty easily. And for X7, wins his 1v1 fight out to the mid portion, and the A players just aren't really that interested at all. HAVU up to 9. They're getting closer and closer to double digits, and you'd have to imagine that they're able to do so in this round.
Orps in, Shiro sees one, catches him. Guess the start for Gambit at the very least here in this eco round as an upgrade PT50 in Deagle and an AK that they can try and recover here from the short presence. Slowy might be in danger. How much is he going to reveal towards these short players? No, they're going to go past him. And Slowy gets them both. 2 for 1 on the response.
Now, Gambit just getting picked apart from here. It seemed as if it was a decent start with the AWP. Errol even walking up at long, just playing anti-flash.
Shots ringing, Inters with the USP. Sprayed up, Aerial. Killed off. Shot in, Bashiro missing out against one individual. Aerial comes up with his double. nafany, well, not really much he can do right here. Maybe grab that AK that was dropped in the mid position, save that into the next round. That orb's a little bit too deep to get recovered. He's going to go hunting for it anyway. Slowy's already in CT spawn. I don't think nafany gets away alive here.
It depends on how wide Slowy goes. If they both hold the same angle, then no one's going to win the fight. It's not even going to get presented. And nafany realizes he doesn't need to move here. He's not going to go down to the bomb blast, so you don't need to start making your way all the way to the B site. And Slowy, I wonder if he does move any further forward.
Doesn't need to. nafany gives up the ghost. And HAVU have 10. Gambit 14. Still 4 of the difference, and a rebuy that probably should be afforded, I think, by this side. We'll get to see it in the short strongest time. All in the T side here for Dust 2. Gambit have done well to get 4 on their CT board. You need to get that little extra push to get 2 more. Is this going to be one of those rounds? For Master for Hobbit, limited M4 Zorb. Other than that, smoke set, Zori in, sees that one, doesn't quite land the kill shot. It's a tag on Hobbit.
Oh, that's still a pretty good shot to come out for Zori. That's going to help them later into the round. Inter's just jump spotting out to that B site, waiting for any kind of lurk or just walk attempt that HAVU have been loving on this T side. And for Gambit, things don't look that great in the second half. They won pistol, won the anti-eco, and the third round conversion. Since then, they've only managed 1 out of the past 6 rounds.
Slow walks, smoke set. Hobbit aggressing up to the house position. Bring it all on Shiro as the main side defender towards A. He's going to have a lot of work to do and very little support around him. Hobbit's going to be slow to rotate and very low HP. Even Shiro's going to back off the long.
It all just comes down to the opening pick for Gambit. Try to see if they can squeeze in an opportunity. Aerial has a chance of just dropping down into CT, going quite aggressive. Another cat take into a short execution for HAVU.
40 seconds. Shiro's watching with the AWP. Except for HAVU, they try to go for the hit. Zori evades the player in from window. Execution inbound, 20 seconds to the clock. Shiro's going to land the first kill first and foremost, and indeed he does. Get aerial, look for Slowy, do damage, can't find that frag though. Many more players to catch, and Yemi gives up the ghost. Slowy behind the boxes, not wallbanged out of existence. The AK of X7 strikes out towards the CT rotators, and looking back in towards long, takes damage. Inters comes up with his kill. Shiro needs this headshot, knows that Slowy's low, but can't land a blow. Gambit still working in for this retake here.
No kit to work with. You'd have to imagine a pick needs to come in quite quickly. Walk up coming through. CT position. Trying to be held. Hobbit falls to the AWP. The pick comes back and Slowy's the last one left. Have to try and see if we can just waste as much time in as possible. Gambit get the kill. I don't know if there's time for it.
No kit. Oh, it's going to be close. Really close. Yeah, I think you're right about that. It does go down to the last few ticks, but it will come through for Gambit. 15-10. Map point on Dust 2 at last.
Yeah, HAVU just not quite holding off for long enough. And you know what really sort of frustrates me in that round, Jay, is that they use so much early util. Where are the flashes? They don't have any. Yes, they get the one smoke down for the cross to try and get them in. If you're going for a short take into the A side and you don't have flashes, that AWP is going to rip you to shreds.
HAVU have that bomb plant bonus to get the buy back in. 5 rounds to get to the even stance. AWP in for Zori will lean up towards the mid control, hunting for a kill or two somewhere in through this mid doors. It's so slow again, so carefully considered from HAVU, knowing one mistake could be their last.
It's pretty crazy to think about. Both teams really haven't fought for short on their CT side at all. They've just allowed the T's to get free range of it. Axel jump spotting out to that long position, sees the first player, could get caught off by Slowy.
Missing against him, and 4 doesn't catch the kill. It's a little bit better for the AK. AWP in with Shiro trying to hunt onto Zori. He's got one teammate back at card to deal with that long presence. Here's those footsteps, sees that jump facer, but can't land the blind shot. Instead, is return damage from the AK, continuing to make some noise.
The backstabbing up lower tunnels.
Oh my god, you're right about that. nafany creeping forward. He's going to see Ariel, at least when he gets Zori. His back's under the mid doors. Neither player sees each other. nafany can come up good with Hobbit trading onto one. It leaves a 3-on-3.
Oh, and they lose the pick out from long. Now they have to commit to the B side. They can't go back out to A. Inter's here in CT, and Shiro there to back him up. What a backstab play that was. The information gathered. Yes, it wasn't a lot of kills to come through with that from us. It was the bomb being dropped and the realization of what's happening in that round, Jay.
And HAVU just lose it out of the last hurdle. A hell of a comeback on that T side, but not enough. Not today. Gambit taking the finish map pick. And again, we're not too shocked at that. Number 2 team in the world, and still HAVU brought it to double digits. There's something to be respected in that, but the outlook of this series does not look good. With Gambit's pick on the horizon, is back to the desk to break it down.
It's Dust 2 not going to the way of HAVU after almost bringing it to the distance. It was a close one, but how close it actually could be?
Yeah, I mean, it was relatively close. I kind of feel like HAVU lost at that in the first half. They needed more than 5 on the CT side. The balance of this map has drastically changed since the latest update. And to me, like, the big key issue, like, couple of things. First of all, HAVU not able to string rounds together. Always a massive issue when you're a CT side. But also, it took them a little bit too long for them to become a little bit more pushy, aggressive, making plays, things that this map new layout or the changes in middle enable a CT side to do. Once we saw Zori taking the peaks in middle while Slowy was pushing lower tunnel, for example, things of that matter is when they managed to grab the last couple of rounds to give them a fighting chance in the map. But yeah, I mean, Gambit just in the end showcasing their, well, not dominance, but just being a bit of a better team.
Yeah, Gambit just looks certain, throughout all the rounds in this Dust 2, and we really saw the Gambit suffocating style, especially on the T side, just holding angles for a minute, even to the 30-second mark, and we saw a couple of times when the HAVU players just walked into the crosshairs of those sneaky Gambit players. That's just the style they play. It's really hard to play against, but yeah, I agree with Natu. HAVU, towards the tail end of things on their CT side, managed to push to the lower tunnel and make things a little bit more uncomfortable for Gambit, and that's what they probably, in hindsight, should have done a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and as we were actually watching the game, there was something that piqued your eyes on round, I think it was 12?
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, round 12, and can you explain what was the problem there?
Well, problem for HAVU, but also Gambit's just a great B hit. We see them faking now short a little bit. They have a player holding on the long tunnel still. X7 with a good kill here, but just a flurry of frags on the Gambit side. There was just an example of Gambit's pretty much flawless execution, HAVU just scrambling to get those trades, and in the end, they didn't manage to do that.
Yeah, it was like HAVU was always kind of a step behind, where I would have wanted to see them dictate the pace, kind of create a situation for Gambit where they need to be a little bit more cautious, maybe use a little bit more utility, but instead it was Gambit that could be as decisive as we see in that example.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and in this first map, Dust 2, there seemed to be a guy who was actually going just all cannon, just insane plays, insane kills. It seemed to be csgo. He was doing a good job on the server.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen more insane performances from csgo, for sure. I think our standard for this guy is insanely high at this point, to be honest with you. But yeah, he can do it all when it comes to that AWP. I mean, combat hopping like we see there. Fast flicks, holding angles, getting pressured. If you're not flashing him off, he's going to more often than not connect the shots time and time again, and keeping the numbers in his team's favor.
Yeah, and keeping the AWP alive. We see only 12 deaths. That is the csgo. We know he dies very, very little in this game. And I thought we saw a couple of unconventional plays even from csgo, where he tried to make maybe more things happen than he would against maybe some of the higher tier opposition that he has been facing throughout all these years. So maybe giving a little bit of disrespect to HAVU, just trying what he can get away with. And with that skill, he can get away with almost anything.
Yeah, and even though HAVU lost the map, there is a player that we should take a little bit of a peek interest into, and it seemed to be Zore.
Okay, well, he was great too. My kind of player was X7, who I thought about a lot in this series. I thought he made a lot of great plays happen. But yeah, Zore, sure, broke the 20 kill mark alongside with X7. A couple of decisive moments with the AWP. That's what we like to see. In the end, not quite enough though.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely would highlight X7 as well, second on that thought. Zore just kind of, managing the shots that he needed to hit when he had the opportunity. Maybe I would like to see him be a little bit more proactive. One of those situations in the tail end of the game, it was him and Slowy in a 2-on-3 on the A-bomb side. I was saying in the green room, like, this is the moment we want to see Zore be activated and take some shots, take some risk and try to take some shots to nullify the retake from Gambit, but unfortunately wasn't able to do that. But yeah, I mean, I would call that like a baseline performance from Zore that you kind of need to see him to do at least, but then we want to push it further. We want to see him do more.
Okay. And as we were talking about a little bit about HAVU CT side, maybe we didn't get enough. Was this the best HAVU on Dust 2 that we've seen?
I mean, honestly, to me, it seems like they haven't spent too much time theory crafting this new Dust 2 whatsoever yet. I mean, the only times we really saw them do any aggressive maneuvers were towards the very end of the CT half, and even then, with some very basic calls of, hey, let's boost up Zore at short, he's going to take a wide peek, and then if it's free, Zore's going to make a play into the tunnels, for example. So, yeah, I kind of want to see them theory craft more on Dust 2, for sure. There's room for improvement.
Okay, as map number 1 gets played off and we are getting ready for the next map, we are going to the commercial. After that, we're coming back to the desk to discuss a little bit about the next map. Mirage.
Red Bull Flick Invitation comes to Helsinki in November. Amateurs challenges the top names in Counter-Strike like Alexi B and Valky, Dota and Diha, Nico and Hunter. Come and witness live the race for 50,000 euros. Get your tickets now at redbull.fi/flick.
As we are heading into Mirage, which is Gambit's pick, we have to kind of sing a little bit of a swan song for HAVU. Is this going to be ended on this current map?
Very likely, very likely. We hope it's not. You know, we want to see a 3-mapper here, I feel like, and but crazier things have happened. So HAVU definitely always has a chance. But when you look at this map from a Gambit perspective, it's a scary team to face on the map. One scoreline that really pops into my eye when you look at the recent history from Gambit is 16-0ing with a 15-0 T-side against Entropic just recently. So yeah, this is a good map for Gambit. So it's going to be a battle for HAVU to get into Dust 3.
All right.
Yeah, what HAVU could maybe find some confidence is their last head-to-head against Gambit, where they actually managed to win this map half a year ago. It was also Gambit's map pick. Then it was an 11-4 CT half from HAVU with Zore going absolutely mental. So something like that maybe on the table. They need a hero performance at least from one of their players, preferably 2 or 3. Pretty much all the stars have to align here on Mirage for HAVU to take this, because I think Gambit has basically just improved from that April matchup, while HAVU has kind of stagnated.
Yeah. And you were kind of alluding, or actually both of you were kind of alluding to the Dust 2 game from HAVU's side that maybe they're not doing the best decisions. There are a few jittery moments here and there. We kind of threw the choke. Sometimes when you unplug the keyboard, you might even win around by that. Will we see situations like that on Mirage? Should they take some kind of a mental lecture from Dust 2?
I think what we were criticizing, that at least I was criticizing HAVU for, was the lack of initiative, lack of making plays and trying to slow down the pace for Gambit, to pressure them into a situation where they have to respect HAVU as a CT side. And that's kind of what you want to see on a map like Mirage. There's always going to be a lot of fighting going on in middle, and if you do that right as a CT, you can make things really uncomfortable for the T side. We know the Ts have come up, and a lot of teams have come up with some great variations and timings and ways of fighting mid and finding the right timings, but there's definitely ways to play against that. And if HAVU starts winning a couple times that early fight in mid, for example, that can change the approach for Gambit quite soon. But considering how strong of a team Gambit is on the map, it's still going to be hard for HAVU to dictate it.
Okay, and as we see the numbers on the screen at the moment, this doesn't really ooze confidence.
Yeah, just looking at the raw numbers, no. Gambit starting on the T side probably, and we already saw in Dust 2 the style of play they bring into the match. They just wait for their opponent's mistakes, just walk around the map. A lot of the time they just cut the noise, and that's where you might get a little jittery. You want to find out what's going on, where are they walking around, and those are the times where you cannot walk into the crosshairs of Gambit, at least not as a lone soldier. You need to group up, maybe take map control, fight for that A ramp, get something going on, because if you let Gambit dictate the terms on Mirage, that's where you're definitely gonna go down.
So if I got this correct, what we're going to need from HAVU's side is just amazing firepower and amazing plays. Is this correct?
Well, if you're simple enough, that's the way to go. That's the way to win. If you go a little bit more into the detail side of things, I feel like they need, when you play against a team like Gambit, you tactically need to be a step ahead, because they have a lot of raw firepower. They have the fundamentals of Counter-Strike down. They play well together. They do the basics really, really well. So you need to be good tactically in a game of Counter-Strike to beat them, unless they're having a massive off day.
Yeah, That's pretty much it. And decisiveness is probably the one key word I would underline for HAVU. Just trust your decisions and don't second guess yourself here.
Okay, and another question I have is that could nerves play a factor here?
Yeah, for the side of HAVU. If it gets close, I suppose so, but they've been through a grinder or two in the, with this lineup already quite a few times, so I'm not really sure if they're going to get nervous, to be honest. But, I mean, if it does get close, if they're about to clinch the map, for example, that's when they might kick in.
Okay.
Yeah, I concur pretty much, and just probably the mental state that HAVU is coming into this match with. You're playing the number 2 team. Nobody's expecting you to win. Nobody's probably even expecting this to go to 3 maps. So that's what helps a lot of players. Just playing as the underdog, you can even lose, and people aren't gonna like be too mad. They're gonna be like, okay, you just played Gambit. Like, what do you expect? So no pressure.
Okay, as the underdog story is still alive, I am going to throw it to our casters because we have a Mirage and somebody calls it Dust 3. Dwayne and Jay, take it away.
I feel like Dust 3 is a fair assessment of Mirage, to be honest here. It's a very similar map and definitely one that you can expect Gambit to replicate results on compared to that Dust 2. Now, the one caveat in this map is the fact that when these two teams played in the Pinnacle Cup 6 months ago, HAVU were able to take that Mirage map. I don't think it's going to be a similar result because, as Robbie mentioned on the desk, Gambit have made a lot of progress in that time. HAVU have kind of regressed and then progressed back to where they were before. So I'm not 100% certain that this is going to be a 3-map affair anymore.
Well, you have a look at Gambit. This entire year, they've won Mirage 26 times. They've lost it 7. One of those times was to HAVU. Another one was Spirit, Navi a couple of times, G2 and Heroic. So you start putting that all into the equation. VP in an overtime loss as well. We're talking about high-end, top 10, even top 5 teams in that conversation, not the likes of HAVU. It may have happened once before. I don't think it's going to happen again.
Yeah, that is more of the outlier result by comparison to all of the other all the other teams that you mentioned before. So to me, I look at that and I think that you're probably right on that particular assessment. I especially with the way that Gambit played on their T side, I know that they're going to get a T side start in this second map as well. So I see this whole map up and I think to myself that this is probably going to end up being Gambit probably stomping their way through that first half, setting themselves up for the victory in the second, just closing it out whenever they're ready to do so. It just kind of sucks for HAVU. As they mentioned before, though, no shame in doing what they've done so far. Still a close map 1, could still make it a close map 2. I think that's pretty decent against number 2 in the world.
Yeah, you have to think that. Maybe you think that after the game, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're still going to go into the second map and try and think to yourself, if you can hype yourself up and say, we can win this, we can bring this back, then that's always that extra push to trying to get it over the line. And then probably when the match is over, you can then reflect on it and say, okay, like we were facing Gambit. Was it realistic that we were going to get a win? Probably not.
Probably not, indeed. And, I think that for HAVU, it's just one of those things where whether they approach it from before the match or after the match, like playing without pressure and playing with confidence, like they mentioned before, it just seems like it's the most sort of like appropriate way to approach this. And definitely got to look into this one saying, let's see what we can do. Rather than focusing on the, the idea that, then probably won't be able to get the win. Obviously, we'll be looking at that and then saying that's going to be the case. If they can just come in with this one saying, look, it's Gambit, play without pressure, see what we can do. And if we can do well, then we do well.
Yeah, I'd like to see Zori get pushed more into aggressive zones because, honestly, he was quite impactful. It just felt as if he was so patient in a lot of those rounds. He was just so slow to really get going. We weren't seeing the hyper-impactful plays. Knowing you've lost your map pick, you're going into Mirage, you're going to have to show something, aren't you? You're going to have to give some magic because if you just play the standard style you do every other game, there is no way you're going to beat Gambit on Mirage. You have to bring that X factor and maybe just getting a little looser, bit more freedom, allowing yourself to go for those risky plays that maybe you wouldn't in the past. It could be the way forward.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right about that. I mean, but the question is, can HAVU really channel that in a, like, can they dig that deep to find something new against Gambit in such a short time frame? That's the big thing. Like, maybe if they came prepared for a Mirage, then maybe they could have done so. We don't know what they prepared for, really. And even then, you've got to consider the talent level is so different. The one key separation factor we mentioned before was the fact that Gambit are number 2 in the world, HAVU are nowhere near that kind of ranking. So even if they do come up with something special, it's going to have to be something special, like, beyond anything else that we could ever imagine in CS. So let's see what HAVU can do. All pressures off, all expectations are pretty low for the Finnish side as we get into the pistol round of our second map. The last chance for HAVU to do something in this series and stay alive in the quarterfinals.
God, HAVU. Let's see what you've got. Finns are watching, the rest of Europe is watching to see what Europe can do up against CIS. Gambit on this T side, looking to go stock standard. They've got a flash and a smoke to just go out for an Xe. Everyone in from ramp, or that palace position to dive out.
Put a lot of weight on the shoulders there of HAVU. Tweg Ariel's going to immediately take some of that weight and apply it to Gambit. 2 kills on Shiro and nafany. Headshots are plenty. Inters can get one responsive, but look at the CT South. There's 2 players on the crossfire here. Hobbit's got his back turned, killed him for Zori. Now the second man can strike, and Zori can double up. Try look for that triple, not quite as effective. Axel gets 2 to respond back at default. Needs to land his second shot. His third kill on towards Slowy. Flashbang over from the center of the site. Going to try and catch his players off. Sees them both now, knows what's going on. 23 HP though. He's got to land a perfect head. Seeing X7 spamming away, getting damage, but no kills. It's a pistol for HAVU.
Yeah, that was a great position for Ariel to work with in City Spawn, just keeping himself in the sort of bottom right corner of that ticket position. A couple of great taps onto the ramp players coming out. And for Gambit, that's just a dive setup. Just try and get the bomb down straight away, force yourself into CT Spawn. And it was all a bait, wasn't it? Ariel getting a couple of kills. Oh, wait, there's still another 2 players in CT Spawn we don't know about.
Unorthodox setup and something that Gambit wasn't expecting for, so it works for HAVU to get that pistol. Did concede that bomb plant, though. Again, that's the thing we mentioned before. Gambit are just that little bit better. They still brought it down to a 1 versus 2, despite HAVU having, what was it, a 1v4 at one point. You get the guns out, of course, in the force buy. The AK's on 2, Galil's on 2, Deagle out for nafany. SMG for Yemi will be the limiting factor for HAVU. The M4s have an easy crossfire set towards mid. nafany enters full. X7's tagged, Hobbit's tagged. There will take some resistance out towards the palace control. Shiro does get that frag, so an angle for the bomb to get planted. It's still so far away, though. And if Shiro gets traded, Gambit might want to rethink their options. Axel caught out in the open. Zori's going to try to get this kill. If he can do so, that might set up the round.
Great picking for Axel that turns it into a couple, and that bomb is starting to make its way out from the apartments. Axel even picking up the short position. Slowy is down low, and this now opens up an avenue of approach of Axel trying to sneak in.
Smoke on to connector, going to try to draw their attention away from the B site. Hobbit's going to get the bomb plant. At least Axel, however, has the better firepower, so it might rest on him to get at least 1 more kill out of this round. Smoke on towards jungle as well. Slowy. Then there'll be some sort of suppression. When do they connect the dots here? Bomb plant will be attempted. Axel on site, smoked up. Aren't yet to come through for Hobbit. He finally puts it down. And Axel just waits here at Sandwich. Gets that kill for his triple. Another 4vx scenario to the favor of HAVU that looks to go awry. Slowy's even backing off from both bomb sites to save his weapon. It's the right call.
That is a class act. That was something miraculous to come in from Axel. And that's the only way that that round gets won. They get absolutely punished. They miss an awful window smoke that just does not land at all. And how does that happen? Seriously, bringing back a 2v4, individual fights being won, and Axel just doing so much damage in that round.
Almost getting a quadra, most certainly secured 3. Off the back of this, such a great setup as well to start things off. We'll watch some of his kills again here from his angle. I want to see how these 2 frags came in from jungle and connector. Off the spray transfer. That is gorgeous. That is brilliant. And that is 1-to-1 to the board. Gambit have the force buy to contend with. HAVU with 1 rifle.
And we got to see glimpses of Axel even before the Gambit youngsters. He was playing on Gambit when they had, Bondic on the lineup, and what else they have? Krisen, perhaps. Could have even been Hobbit back then, too. My goodness, what a star player. Hobbit getting flashed in. Didn't expect that one at all. Couldn't even turn away from it in time.
Yeah, Hobbit's had some punishable positions, and HAVU had done decent at punishing his general sort of approach to the game. Both in this map and the last. First casualty taken. That's a rifle being dropped as well. Can't recover it, unfortunately, for the CT forces. Gambit are going to leave that position entirely opened. Maybe Ariel could swing back in the post round, grab it. I'll try and find a cheeky play back in eventually. Either way, it's slow positions. Gambit are going to re-aggress and find a different route into the site.
I'm surprised it's been this long since we've spoken about the Nova that's in the hands of nafany. Any thoughts on that one, Joe?
I reserve judgment until the end of the round.
Okay.
Not really a big fan of it on T side, honestly. But it could still work if they can find the right angle, especially with X7 being low. Shiro's going to pop out with the AK in hand. The Ghoul takes fight, and the AK wins it in against Aerial. Molotov on towards Default, should 467 away. He's solo HP, and Shiro gets his double up. Galil gets the frag on towards Zori, so Yemi and Slowey, last couple of players remaining. M4 trying to force forward, and Axel just cleans house, so not even giving a chance for that shotgun to add. nafany turns up towards the Galil. Axel makes it a double, and Gambit make it 2 rounds.
Axel's in a conversation for sure as being one of the best riflers in the world. Robo was kind of talking about it just with the numbers alone, that every highest rated player in the world right now is an AWPer. It's going to be a Simple, it's going to be a Shiro, it's going to probably be an Elian that's going to be up there at crazy numbers too. And my goodness, to think that he just does that with an M4 and an AK on a daily basis, he is an incredible find.
Sprays on from Hobbit, trying to get towards the Eco basis and try to get his own rifle set up, but it's Shiro actually that takes the mantle away with a 4-man spray. This is what anti-eco frags, but still very quick and clean for Gambit. And HAVU setting up for the guns. Bit of a throwaway round in that respect. They don't have to take too much away from that.
I wonder if the pace of these rounds, of how quickly they're getting won, is getting into the minds of HAVU, just that they are starting to get decimated. They had a great pistol. There was nothing taken away from that. And then they had a 4-on-2 advantage in the second round, and they bottled it. Since then, they have not been able to find conversions. Now going into the rifle, you'd have to imagine they need to win this to just keep themselves sane.
Gambit. Positions held, AK in for Hobbit, captures X7 and kicks things off on the right foot. Molotov's back over towards Truck. Yemi sees several, but doesn't get a chance to catch them off. Enters with his kill. Slowey does find Axel before the smoke blooms out towards the window. With him down at 15 HP and the man advantage still sitting to the favor of Gambit. HAVU thinking about a safe call here.
You'd have to think 9 times out of 10, normally with some of the other teams that made their way through from main Swiss, that position just doesn't get checked on that balcony entrance. And that's what is another factor that Gambit bring on their entire setups, is the awareness, just pre-aiming everything. And even when they go for the big exec with the opening kill, they're still clearing the angles that a player might play once a half. And for Yemi, he's thinking to himself, right, going to get one before getting traded. He can't even find a pick.
Gambit will get to 4. HAVU. Say those M4s, of course, to bolster up a decent buy here in the next round. They probably drop some rifles, get some SMGs forced together. Lacking in loss bonus by a tiny amount. Next round will be max. So he knocked back a peg by the back of that pistol victory. So it's having long-term ramifications for HAVU's economy state. And they're not even going to buy around, actually. They're going to just go in with a couple of Deagles. No Kevlar for X7 and the Emmy. I respect it. He's a slightly better buy in this one. HAVU still have a few weapons to work with, and they'll put them to decent effect. Again, nafany caught out towards the mid-control, and a lot of aggression comes in from HAVU.
It's probably them just being realistic and saying the only chance we really have of stealing a round away is if we get everything out. We get that AWP forward, we give all the util. Don't just force it up for the sake of it. Yemi still aggressive with that Deagle. Nice shot onto Shiro, opening man advantage.
I sure didn't see that one coming. Very accurate headshot. Hobbit. Similar situation that towards the ramp control. X7 going to get caught. Zori naded. Molotov out towards Sandwich, hoping he can see somebody else. Nobody's there. Flashes in as Zori can't find any way back into the site itself. Gambit have suppressed with passiveness, and they've drawn all attention towards the A site. Meanwhile, Gambit are acting towards the apartments. nafany's going to lead the charge. The bomb's going to go down from Axile.
This is what's so annoying to face against these CIS teams, is they're so slow on T side that once they're able to have some gunfights and use some utility, you could just get over-rotated so easily. And for HAVU, Zori's coming back into B. It's too late, though.
Swing upon, Zori gets Axile, Hobbit trading back. 3-on-3 scenario, still trying to find access to the site for HAVU, and nafany so close towards that doorway. Zori's looking on towards the apartments. It's Hobbit that gets Yemi next instead. Continues to bear down upon Slowey's position, and the kills come in simultaneously for the T-side players. Hobbit with a quadra, recovering from all the times he's gone down in this series. 3 players alive for Gambit. Relatively expensive for HAVU, but with the economy being where it is for the T's, I don't think it'll matter too much. The guns should come back out in full force for the CT side.
Yeah, definitely the hardest bait we've seen from Gambit so far. You just see the bomb going down, and then nafany, that's aggressive on that market corner, just decides not to swing on the contact. Maybe knowing he's low HP and thinks if I do swing, there might be a way he transfers, so instead, I'll just let him take the kill, and I'm not going to fight.
Flash is over. Zori going to get forced out towards the T-side contact, this time using a little bit more utility to get into the mid control rather than dying to HAVU's directive engagement. X7 to fall to Hobbit first. Nice bait and switch. Kill into the headshot. X7 thinking he had a good play there. Not to be.
Jeez, just a crosshair placement. And even Axel has been able to sneak in massive gaps in the defense. And I don't even know if Zori has the idea and the awareness that there could be a wraparound play in from CT Spawn. That AWP is scoped in a ramp.
Axel's just going to get an easy kill. How long would he wait?
Cheeky.
Look for aerial. Best call. Doesn't see him. He saw him now. Oh, good headshot. Comes up with the kills regardless. And Zori just didn't even see it coming. And that's the difference Gambit make. 1v5 for Slowy now. Does catch Hobbit at least, but the bomb actually going to go back into the apartments here because they actually left it out there. Slowy does hear it getting picked up. Shiro's going to flank him though. So either way, I think his chances of survival are slim.
And if that was a double pony or a HAVU or a Lingby Vikings that did that, I'd be losing my mind, Jay, on just how sick that backstab is. When it's Gambit, it's just, you expect these things and you know they're going to come through. HAVU, they just have no idea that that's a potential possibility. And surely there's no way Slow even holds onto the AWP. T-side players are everywhere around him.
They're going for the hunt and they can afford to do so. Like, look at the cash amounts, 10 grand on several players. 6 grand minimum for Axel, just below the 7K mark. Shiro's just hunting, he's waiting. Oh, turned away. nafany's making noise. Shiro struggles to get that kill, but does come up with a frag regardless. Orb saved and all. 6-1 to the board of Gambit. And yeah, you're right about that. Like, there are certain things which you just expect from Gambit to be able to work this patient play from Axel. The discipline is something you expect from a team of this kind of caliber by comparison to HAVU. We see pistols out, the Deagles in. They should come through for HAVU on a half-buy round. Not much that they can really do in this one, so... Should be 7, should be probably 8 or 9. Gambit making this look a lot like Dust 2.
Oh, it's even more one-sided for me than Dust 2. Easy pick out from mid. And even in the last round, just to trigger discipline, to not take that kill straight away. Ships probably just goes for the knife in that situation. But hey, got to go for a couple of kills. nafany peeking out to Zori, and we're just seeing dry peaks, aren't we, for the CT side that's getting picked apart. This is just looking too easy for Gambit. It's like they're not even putting up a fight.
They couldn't do much here again. Pistols v rifles to give a little bit of breathing room for HAVU. Let's play from nafany. Does get caught off by Slowy. There's a little bit of resistance there. Yeah, I mean, looking for Axel as well. A bit premature with the shoulder bait. Still trying to bait him in, trying to get a bit more aggressive. Slowy does see Hobbit. And Inters combined to dish out damage, 12 HP. Should be kickings for Shiro. Struggling to get those shots in for both sides. Axel, meanwhile, does find Yemi. Now closing in the backstab. Good shot for Slowy. 1 AK that can get saved. Hobbit says no. And here we are, 7-1 for Gambit. Full on Brazil for the CIS squad. You see those guns getting brought in by HAVU again. That was a half-buy round. They need to get some rounds on the board soon, though, Dwegos. You could be right about it being more one-sided. It's on track to be so.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Have we not seen a lack of tactical pauses for HAVU here on Mirage? I can't even remember that I've seen a tactical so far from them.
I mean... yeah, you're probably right, actually. Yeah, that seems about right. There's been no tacticals. In this map, at least. Maybe they are checked out. Maybe they just are taking the approach of, listen, there's not really... I mean, there's not a whole lot of point because of the nature of the fact that they are so one-sided. Let's just play our own game and see what we get from there and not be too overzealous with this. I don't think that's an analogy that I personally agree with. But you can just see with the way these rounds are going, Gambit are just so unstoppable. And I don't know if HAVU even have an idea as to how to break it.
Well, they've got the B site open. Axel, with this walkout again, has been able to completely clear the site. They've left a lurk in top con that can just wait for the sound cues, cut off the rotations. nafany just slowing it down, bring that bomb from T-spawn all the way in. Even the B player of Axel's aggressed out to market.
Smoke to support it, get up towards that cashier position. Bomb will go down, of course. No resistance from HAVU here on the B site. You mentioned it was open, so you can even plant open for Hobbit. And HAVU is so far away, not even bothering with this retake. A safe call involved. And I see where they come from with it because it is 2v3. But at the same time, we're starting to get to this point now where you kind of need to get some rounds here for HAVU. And we're on max loss bonus. And yeah, you won't get them by the next round. Yeah. But just to go for the rounds, just to get something, anything on this board.
I'm kind of with you. Just go for it. Just have that intent of if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We're down 1-7. We might as well try our luck. This is probably the best chance we've had in a while. I guess that they know they don't have a kit. They got a lucky util, and already they heard the smoke going down deep market. So the retake was going to be tough. 8 coming into Gambit. It is tough here for HAVU. And it was expected in the series that if there was any damage that was realistically going to be done by HAVU, it had to be map 1, because there was no chance it was going to happen on Mirage.
Yeah. Even with that caveat, it's not going to happen. And it seems to be the case right here that Gambit are going to make this look like a simple enough series and just claim their rightful spot in the semi-finals. Still got a bit of time to get before that point, but with the way this one's going, I just don't see much that HAVU can do to resist. Aerial dropping already in this half by a round. At least X7 gets that 1 trade, but it's 2 kills for the 1 responsive. X7 holds on to a triple overall. Hobbit's Nay gets him back to a 2 versus 2, and HAVU finding a bit more of a breath of life in this one. Is there anything more than this Deagle slowly? Hobbit struggles to deal with him or Yemi. The Orb Shira has no problems, and Hobbit will eventually find his recovery pick. So HAVU, decent effort. Again, I would say damage done, but the economy's so far gone that HAVU need rounds to get significant damage.
That was a great sequence for X7, and quite disappointing that there wasn't a follow-up with a teammate. He gets 3 kills from under Balk default and just holds for as long as possible. Just try and stay alive. Doesn't happen for a round victory at all. 9 rounds in a row from Gambit. HAVU just end the streak. That's all they've got to be focusing on.
Incendiaries blocked off by smokes and connect, and nafany going to try and make his way up here into the center of the site. Sees one player at CT spawn at ticket booth. Aerial caught with a bit of damage, slowly caught out towards the mid control. Now it forces a hard stack back in, which Gambit have read so well. Look at the plays, they're backing away.
And it's moments like that, because they're able to have walkouts and they catch HAVU sleeping, that there's just so much counter utility that comes in. And we're at minute 20 on the clock, and HAVU are struggling to keep nades in, which means late round on holds, it's going to be difficult. Even X7 just waiting by the lamp to see if there is a push or some sort of aggressive move into the window angle. Gambit just going back to the mid pressure.
A run boost. AK to push up towards that mid control. Look down a sniper's nest, looking to connect up. Molotov set, smokes go back. And T's try press up into the B site. We've got Yemi and X7, the 2 players held towards the B play area when nafany come up with those trades out towards the mid control.